Have you ever wondered if the vitamins you take to stay healthy might actually be weakening your legs? It sounds counterintuitive, but here's a startling fact. Studies show that nearly 40% of seniors unknowingly take at least one supplement in excess of recommended levels, and that overabundance can quietly erode muscle strength. Imagine thinking you're doing everything right to protect your health, only to discover that a pill meant to help you walk more confidently is actually making each step harder. Today, we're diving into the 7 worst vitamins, yes, 7, that can sap your leg strength if you're not careful. From too much vitamin A disrupting muscle repair to excess B12 throwing off your body's finely tuned balance, you'll be shocked by how easily a well-intentioned supplement can backfire. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which vitamins to stop taking or adjust so you can keep your legs strong and stable. Before we dive in, let us know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments so we can say hello and connect. Now let's get started. Number 1, vitamin A. Let's start by talking about vitamin A, a fat-soluble vitamin that many seniors take for eye health and immune support. You probably know vitamin A from carrots and leafy greens, but when you take it in supplement form, especially at high doses, it can quietly start affecting your muscles, specifically the ones in your legs. Here's what happens. Vitamin A, being fat-soluble, accumulates in your liver and fatty tissues over time. It's true that your body needs vitamin A for normal vision, immune function, and cell growth. But when seniors take high-dose supplements, often 10,000 IU or more daily, their blood levels of retinol, the active form of vitamin A, can rise well above normal. This excess retinol starts to interfere with muscle protein synthesis. In other words, your muscle cells can't repair and rebuild as efficiently. You might notice your legs feeling weaker, or you might find it harder to stand up from a seated position or climb stairs. Scientifically, this ties back to vitamin A's impact on gene expression. High levels of retinoic acid, a vitamin A derivative, can downregulate proteins that are crucial for maintaining muscle structure and function. But that's not all. Excess vitamin A can also lead to a condition called hypervitaminosis A, characterized by symptoms like bone pain, joint stiffness, and even osteoporosis. Seniors are already at higher risk of losing bone density, so taking too much vitamin A compounds that risk. Weakened bones in your legs translate to less stability and strength. When your bones and muscles are both compromised, walking becomes more treacherous. Moreover, vitamin A toxicity can cause neurologic symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, and a sense of imbalance. That dizziness can translate to a fear of falling, making you less active and causing your leg muscles to weaken from disuse. In scientific terms, elevated retinol levels can disrupt normal vitamin D metabolism, which goes on to affect muscle calcium regulation, critical for muscle contraction. So what does this mean for you? If you're over age 65 and taking a daily supplement that contains high levels of vitamin A, often bundled with immune boost claims, consider stopping or switching to a formulation that provides only the recommended daily allowance, about 700 to 900 micrograms of retinol activity equivalents. Instead, get your vitamin A from food sources like sweet potatoes, spinach, and carrots, where your body regulates absorption based on need. That way, you'll reduce the risk of accumulation and protect your leg strength. Number 2, vitamin D. Next up is vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. It's almost a rite of passage for seniors. Your doctor tests your levels, you learn your 25-hydroxy vitamin D is low, and you're handed a prescription or told to take over-the-counter supplements. While addressing vitamin D deficiency is important for bone health and immune function, too much can backfire, especially when it comes to leg strength. Here's the science. Vitamin D, cholecalciferol or ergocalciferol, is converted in your liver and kidneys into its active form, calcitriol. Calcitriol helps regulate calcium absorption in your intestines and maintains calcium levels in your blood so your muscles and nerves can function. In seniors, low vitamin D often coincides with muscle weakness and falls, so doctors commonly recommend doses ranging from 800 to 2,000 IU daily. But some seniors, worried about osteoporosis or pressed by sensational headlines, take megadoses, 10,000 IU, sometimes even 50,000 IU weekly, without rechecking blood levels or consulting a professional. When your vitamin D levels climb too high, serum 25-hydroxy vitamin D exceeding about 125 nanomoles per litre, calcium starts to deposit where it shouldn't, soft tissues and blood vessels. This extra calcium can accumulate in kidney tissue, leading to nephrocalcinosis, calcium buildup in the kidneys, and eventually dampening kidney function. Kidneys play a crucial role in filtering waste and maintaining electrolyte balance. When kidneys struggle, your body's calcium and phosphate regulation goes haywire. Elevated blood calcium, hypercalcemia, can then cause muscle weakness. Mechanistically, high calcium levels reduce the excitability of muscle fibers, making contractions sluggish or weak. Direction from muscle fiber to tendon becomes less efficient, and you may notice difficulty rising from a chair or climbing stairs. But vitamin D toxicity doesn't stop there. It can impair the function of vitamin K2, which normally helps direct calcium into bones. Without sufficient vitamin K2 to escort calcium, extra calcium might deposit around joints and arteries. In your legs, calcium deposits around the joints, like the knees, can cause arthritic pain, inflammation, and a reduced range of motion, secondarily weakening the muscles that support those joints. You might find it painful to straighten your leg fully or get a firm grip with your quadriceps and hamstrings. Over time, these calcium deposits can also irritate nerve endings, leading to cramps, spasms, and a feeling of heaviness in your legs. To keep your leg strength intact, seniors need to maintain vitamin D in a safe range, generally 50 to 75 nanomoles per litre. That often means sticking to 800 to 2,000 IU per day and retesting every 3 to 6 months if you're on a prescription dose. If you're already taking high-dose vitamin D, talk to your doctor about scaling back. Instead of mega doses, aim for moderate supplementation alongside safe morning sun exposure, 10 to 15 minutes a few times a week, and vitamin D-rich foods like fatty fish or fortified milk. Number 3, vitamin E. Vitamin E is often touted for its antioxidant properties, promising to protect cells from free radical damage. That sounds great, especially for seniors worried about aging. But when it comes to leg strength, high-dose vitamin E supplements can be a stealthy saboteur. Vitamin E is a family of compounds called tocopherols and tocotrienols, with alpha-tocopherol being the form most commonly found in supplements. As an antioxidant, alpha-tocopherol helps neutralize free radicals in cell membranes, theoretically protecting muscle and nerve cells from oxidative stress. But here's where things get tricky. Research has shown that taking more than 400 IU of vitamin E daily can interfere with blood clotting and healthy circulation. How? Vitamin E can inhibit vitamin K-dependent clotting factors by reducing platelet aggregation. In practical terms, that means your blood takes longer to clot, which might sound helpful if you worry about heart disease, but in seniors, slower clotting can lead to microscale bleeding in muscle tissue or worsen existing circulatory issues. Now, your leg muscles rely on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients via a healthy network of small blood vessels. If vitamin E in high doses is thinning your blood too much, you might notice less efficient circulation. Your muscles may receive less oxygen, leading to early onset of fatigue. Scientific studies have found that when blood becomes overly anticoagulated, capillary function can suffer. Capillaries are the tiny blood vessels where oxygen and nutrient exchange occurs at the cellular level. If these capillaries get compromised, your muscle fibers can't perform oxidative phosphorylation, the process that uses oxygen to generate energy, as efficiently. The result? Early muscle fatigue, decreased endurance, and weaker leg strength over time. High-dose vitamin E also interacts with medications commonly prescribed to seniors, like statins and blood thinners, warfarin, clopidogrel. When you mix a potent antioxidant with medications that modify your body's clotting and lipid pathways, you create a recipe for unintended effects. For instance, vitamin E can enhance statin-induced muscle side effects. Statins can cause muscle pain and weakness through mechanisms like mitochondrial dysfunction or decreased coenzyme Q10 levels. Adding high-dose vitamin E might blunt protective oxidative signaling necessary for mitochondrial health, magnifying statin-induced myopathy. If you notice cramping or weakness in your legs and you're on both a statin and vitamin E, it's likely the combination is working against you. Another concern, vitamin E can block the absorption of other crucial fat-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin A and vitamin D. When you crowd out those vitamins, you indirectly risk bone and muscle complications. Think reduced bone density or impaired calcium handling. Both conditions can subtly undermine leg muscle function. Bones that are less robust provide less stable support, and disruptions in calcium regulation hamper muscle contractions. Rather than grabbing a high-dose vitamin E pill off the shelf, focus on getting your antioxidant support from food, nuts, almonds, hazelnuts, seeds, sunflower, pumpkin, and leafy greens. These foods provide balanced tocopherols along with additional nutrients that work synergistically, unlike isolated supplements. If you're determined to take vitamin E, keep it under 400 IU and talk with your doctor. They'll likely monitor your blood's clotting parameters and consider your full medication profile. Number 4, vitamin B6. Vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, is a water-soluble vitamin that plays an essential role in energy metabolism, neurotransmitter synthesis, and hemoglobin formation. It's common for seniors to take B6 supplements to improve mood, reduce cardiovascular risk, or ease neuropathy symptoms. But ironically, when you take too much, vitamin B6 can become a direct enemy of leg strength. Here's what's happening on a scientific level. Vitamin B6 is crucial for converting amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, into neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. These neurotransmitters help regulate mood and nerve function. That's why low B6 can lead to depressive symptoms or issues like peripheral neuropathy. But when you overshoot the sweet spot, dosing above 100 milligrams per day for extended periods, pyridoxine starts to cause sensory nerve damage. High doses of B6 over weeks or months lead to a condition called sensory neuropathy, in which your peripheral nerves, particularly in the legs, become inflamed and start to malfunction. People report burning sensations, numbness, and tingling in their feet and calves. When sensory nerves can't send clear signals to and from your leg muscles, coordination and strength take a nosedive. Research shows that vitamin B6 toxicity stems from its direct interference with pyridoxal phosphate, the active coenzyme form of B6. Elevated pyridoxine levels can cause degeneration of dorsal root ganglion cells, clusters of nerve cell bodies located just outside the spinal cord. In practical terms, those ganglia are crucial for transmitting sensory information from your legs to your brain. When they're damaged, you lose proprioception, awareness of where your legs are in space, and fine-tuned motor control. You might notice a wobbly gait or difficulty balancing on one foot. Even tasks like walking on carpet or uneven ground become precarious. In addition to sensory problems, B6 toxicity can cause muscle weakness directly. High doses interfere with normal neurotransmitter production, leading to an imbalance in excitatory and inhibitory signals. Gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, and glutamate pathways, both regulated by B6-dependent enzymes, become disrupted. GABA is essential for calming muscles and preventing spasms, while glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. When B6 is in oversupply, GABA synthesis can be inhibited, making your motor neurons hyperactive and then ultimately fatigued. The result, weak, trembling muscles in the legs that tire quickly. Compounding the issue, seniors often have reduced kidney function, slowing the excretion of surplus B6. Instead of clearing the excess, their bodies hold on to toxic levels of pyridoxine longer, escalating nerve damage. Even if you only feel mild tingling initially, those early signs can rapidly progress to severe neuropathy if you don't act. Once the nerve damage sets in, recovery can take months, even years, and sometimes the effects are permanent. That means your leg strength might never fully bounce back. To keep your legs strong, cap B6 supplementation at 50 milligrams per day unless your doctor specifically prescribes a higher dose under close monitoring. Maintain adequate dietary intake. B6 is plentiful in foods like poultry, fish, potatoes, bananas, and fortified cereals, rather than relying on megadoses. If you're already taking high-dose B6 and notice tingling or numbness in your feet or calves, stop immediately and consult your healthcare provider. Early withdrawal usually halts further nerve damage and you can begin healing. Number 5. Niacin, vitamin B3. Niacin, commonly known as vitamin B3, is another water-soluble B vitamin frequently prescribed to seniors to help manage cholesterol levels and support cardiovascular health. It's true that niacin in doses of 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams daily can increase HDL cholesterol, good cholesterol, and lower triglycerides. However, high-dose niacin can wreak havoc on your leg strength if not used judiciously. First, we need to talk about niacin's most notorious side effect, flushing. Even at moderate doses, niacin causes your blood vessels to dilate, creating that classic red, warm feeling in your face and chest. When you take a prescription-level dose, usually starting at 500 milligrams and ramping up to 2,000 milligrams, pulse dilation can extend to your limbs. Elderly individuals may experience sustained vasodilation in their legs, leading to a drop in blood pressure, hypotension. With a sudden dip in blood pressure, less oxygenated blood reaches your leg muscles, causing immediate fatigue and weakness. Imagine trying to walk while your leg muscles are starved for oxygen. That's exactly what can happen when niacin-induced vasodilation reduces effective blood pressure below the threshold needed for optimal muscle perfusion. But flushing is just the tip of the iceberg. High-dose niacin can also impair glucose tolerance. Studies show that niacin in gram-level doses can decrease insulin sensitivity, pushing blood sugar levels higher over time. Persistent hyperglycemia can damage small blood vessels, microvascular damage, in your legs, particularly those supplying the calf and thigh muscles. Over time, this microvascular compromise reduces nutrient and oxygen delivery, leading to chronic muscle fatigue and slower repair after daily wear and tear. Seniors with borderline or type 2 diabetes are especially vulnerable. Their baseline insulin resistance combined with niacin can accelerate glucose dysregulation and worsen muscle health. In addition, niacin can cause liver toxicity. Your liver is the organ that converts niacin into nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD+, a coenzyme vital for energy production in every cell. At high doses, niacin overstresses liver enzymes, potentially causing elevated liver function tests or, in severe cases, drug-induced hepatitis. When liver function is compromised, your body's ability to produce and recycle NAD+ diminishes. NAD+ is essential for mitochondrial function in muscle cells. Without adequate NAD+ levels, mitochondria can't generate ATP efficiently. ATP is the molecule that powers muscle contraction. In seniors, whose mitochondrial function is already declining by virtue of age, excessive niacin can tip the balance, leading to severe muscle weakness, lactic acid buildup in muscle fibers, and increased fatigue during even simple activities like climbing a flight of stairs. Number 6. Folic acid, vitamin B9. Folic acid, often called folate when it's found naturally in food, is a crucial player in DNA synthesis, red blood cell production, and methylation processes that regulate gene expression. For seniors, supplementation is common to prevent anemia, support cardiovascular health, and even improve cognitive function. However, when folic acid intake surpasses recommended levels, often through fortified foods plus multiple B-complex supplements, it can inadvertently weaken leg strength. Here's the scientific scoop. Folic acid is converted in the liver into dihydrofolate, DHF, and then into the biologically active form, tetrahydrofolate, THF. Active THF is necessary for DNA replication and repair, especially in rapidly dividing cells like red blood cells. But if you flood your system with more folic acid than your liver's dihydrofolate reductase, DHFR, enzyme can handle, unmetabolized folic acid starts to circulate in your bloodstream. This unmetabolized folic acid can block folate receptors on cell surfaces, competing with natural folate and reducing its uptake by crucial tissues, including muscles in your legs. When active folate is low at the tissue level, your body struggles to generate new red blood cells effectively, leading to a type of anemia called megaloblastic anemia. This anemia results in red blood cells that are larger than normal and less efficient at carrying oxygen. When your leg muscles don't get enough oxygen via these impaired red blood cells, you feel fatigue, cramping, and diminished endurance, even after mild activity. Essentially, you become weaker simply because your muscles aren't getting the fresh oxygen they need to contract and recover. Moreover, excess folic acid can mask a vitamin B12 deficiency by normalizing blood cell counts while leaving underlying B12-related neurologic issues unaddressed. In seniors, B12 deficiency is relatively common due to decreased stomach acid or changes in intrinsic factor production. If you're taking high-dose folic acid, often more than 1 milligram daily, you may correct anemia markers, but the nerve damage from